Hey guys, how's it going? We are back with another recap video, and we're going to look ahead to the next week's games. A little bit different look here, just trying new things. I want to eventually start just going live with everyone instead of making these videos, just in a waiting period, and want to do that correctly. Anyways, let's dive in and see how we did this weekend. It was actually a really great weekend, especially because of Discord. Um, like always, I know I'm always, advertising Discord and whatnot, but we gave away a lot of winners again, and I just find crazy value in it. But here's our screen. Let's go over the college picks that we did first. Let's go locker picks. So I still had all these posted from the weekend. And so our weekend for the posts that or the picks that we took on the website, we went 2-3. Doesn't sound great. But then you add in Discord. We then went 5-3 because we gave away 3 extra winners Saturday morning. And then you add on our daily picks for Friday night. And we went 3-0 that day are that night. So I mean, that's what's that 8-3 for the weekend. So looks can be deceiving with picks. I mean, because if you are a member, you still got the winners in Discord and you still got the daily picks Friday. So in college, we went 8-3 for the weekend, which is awesome. So Vanderbilt, South Carolina was our lock. It was looking great until Sellers went out as QB for South Carolina. They couldn't move the ball after that, and they stopped scoring while Vanderbilt continued to score. So got pretty close, but I'm pretty sure it would have gotten there if Sellers didn't go out as QB for South Carolina. He went out in like the second quarter, didn't return for the second half, and that hurt a lot, and it was evident right away. So looking great till then. The Dogs, Purdue, winner as expected. We just expected everyone was on USC. And I mean, like I said, you can pause right here if you want to, as always, if you want to pause and go through the write-ups and everything. Just want to try and breeze through all of these. So that way we can get to the preview for next week as well. But anyways, Purdue was our dog of the day. And just thought USC, I mean, I know that they scored the most points in the FBS so far through 2 weeks, but much different environment, a divisional matchup at Purdue. Expected Purdue to keep it close, and they did. So that was an easy cover. USF, on the other hand, was not. Miami was ready for them. If USF would have lost to Florida or lost both games, we think that they could have snuck that Miami game out. We thought that they'd probably play him as tough. And I mean, you can read Johnny B's thing right here. Thought they'd play him tough, but Miami was ready for him, and they were on their radar from the second the kickoff started. So that one didn't cover, but that's okay. Let's go to gut picks for college. Sooners, easy cover. Just expected that John Mateer was going to crush them and take them for, I mean, as you read here, he was throwing for crazy yards, and Oklahoma just want to make a run at it again for this FBS or the championship game. So they crushed him as expected. So that was a great gut call by Craig there. And then let's go to, I can't go to dailies because I posted today's daily. So if you want to see that, go ahead and become a member. Free pick was Oregon Ducks. That was the last one. I forgot about that one. So looking great. It was 34-0 going into the fourth quarter. And then in garbage time, Northwestern scores 2 touchdowns. The one was funny because they were still covering if you bought the extra half point. So they're up by 27. And it was like, oh man, well, good thing we always buy that half point because you need to always do that and not get, crushed by the hook from the books. But then all of a sudden, Northwestern ran an 80-yard run touchdown for the garbage backdoor cover. So if you watch my last video, you can totally tell that college football is unpredictable and college football always have backdoor covers. And like it happened to Penn State again this week for the third week in a row. And it just happens. College football is a lot more scrappier. They're not professionals. The coaches are, but as much as you can coach the best kids in the world and they're still young and progressing and they're still trying to get to the pro level, and things like that happen. So that's what happened in this free pick. It was looking awesome until then. So, but I mean, like I said, if you were a member in Discord though, so that puts us as 2 and 3 for the picks that were given on the site. But if you remember on the Discord, Saturday morning we gave away Memphis, Tennessee, and LSU. So we just like what that's kind of why we do that, and why we have the Discord set up for our members is because we do see things overnight, we do see things in the morning, and we just spot things later on. I want to try and make these posts early enough for people to get, but also overnight into morning things change, and we like what we're seeing in other games also. And so that's why we put them out there like, hey, make sure you keep an eye on these teams as well. So um, let's move over to NFL. Had a great NFL week as well. Went I forgot where my notes were, but I think we went, what did we go? 5-2. We went 6-2. Well, I'll just show you. I don't think we gave any extra winners in Discord away. But let's start with, well, let's just go backwards because I know what I did for one of them, and ended up being amazing. So free picks for NFL was Detroit Lions. Pause it right here on the write up, and we were spot on. Like I was saying in all my videos leading up to week 2 in NFL, it was the most exploitive week of the year. Overreactions from week 1, what we saw, a lot of casual bettors and a lot of books play into that, as far as they play into those overreactions, and people are going to bet into those and thinking that that one game sample size is what you should be taking, and that is complete opposite. Case in point, Detroit Lions. Everyone said that their offense sucks without Ben Johnson. They can't move the ball. Are they scared moving forward? And Dan Campbell was like, it's one game without him. Come on, guys. And then coincidentally, Ben Johnson was coming into the stadium with the Bears. This was a statement game to prove that we are still something, even without Ben Johnson. And they proved it. I mean, running up the score to 52, that was just insane. The last play of the first half, when I guess they spiked the ball, then they called okay, yeah, it was down with 1 second, and then instead of kicking the field goal, they go for the touchdown and get it. Oh, that was a exclamation point of wanting to prove that they can score without Ben Johnson as the offensive coordinator. So that was spot on. So that was great. Go to gut picks, was not spot on. And maybe I do just need to give up on the Dolphins. I thought that, same narrative, that their offense is washed and whatever. And no way Mike McDaniel. And they looked good, but you can just tell that something is off. And then Tyreek Hill not believing in Tua, and like you just saw that on the sidelines. And I don't know. They're going to have to win moving forward, or otherwise Mike McDaniel's going to get fired. I mean, you could just see it on the walls. And I mean, I wrote it in the write-up right here, speaking in riddles. And I think people are getting sick of it, and they just need to see wins. So keep an eye out for them this week. I might be giving up on them, but we'll see. They just have so many offensive weapons that work good for DFS, and I figured it would look good for picks as well, but maybe that doesn't translate as well. So they lost. Everything else, though, looked pretty great. Let's daily picks. Oh, yeah, daily picks. We went Buffalo Bills. They crushed them. That was a win. And then I can't remember our other daily we gave that day, but locker picks. First, Cowboys. You saw that game. You saw the shootout. Cowboys defense is horrible. Did not see that coming. And I mean, I guess you did see that coming, but at the same time, I thought they would step up a bit and want to win at home, and they did. They did win at home, but giving up 50-yard bombs to Russell Wilson every freaking play was just so tough to watch. I mean, they were covering for a little bit, but then they just every time. I mean, it just felt like the Giants could score at will, and then the Dallas could score at will too. So they didn't cover; they won by 3, but that was just a frustrating game to watch. If you did have them in DFS, it was awesome, but no one really had the Giants in DFS, and that's what won the $1 million lineup. So you got to be able to take risks. Now, what I really wanted to get to was the 3-star pick. So like I was preaching, I wanted to tell everyone and show everyone it is exploitive week. You need to take advantage of all the overreactions for week one. And that was the point of my write ups. Bengals lose first game. I got lucky with this first one, obviously, because Joe Burrow went out in the second quarter. Rest in peace, Joe Burrow. But the overreaction from week one was Joe Burrow, maybe this is not the year, and look at what they did last year. They didn't start out for great, and maybe they're not as good as everyone thinks they are. Well, that is true. Their offensive line. I mean, I know you've heard that 1,000 times this week, but it is true. I mean, they're just letting them clobber Joe Burrow, but their offense is great. Joe Burrow is one of the best, if not the best, pocket passers in the league right now. If he was protected, no doubt in my mind, he'd be running up the scores on everyone. And he started to in that game, and we got lucky to get the backdoor cover with Browning coming in. But that was my point in that one. Burrow's not good. Yes, he is. Seahawks overreaction was Rodgers is fully back. He threw for 4 touchdowns the first week, and Pittsburgh's back, and this is the year for Pittsburgh and everything. It's like, yeah, but you got to know how good Seahawks defense is. And going into this matchup, they were going to be playing tough. And Sam Darnold is pretty good too, and he can keep up. And he proved that last year with the Vikings. So that was my point with this one. Rodgers is fully back, and they're going to cover easy this week. Nope, I knew that Seahawks defense was going to be playing them hard this week, and the +3 looked great, especially if we got them +3.5, and they covered easy. They won outright if you took a money line. The last one, Colts. Well, last two, really. Colts, my whole point. Good luck against Broncos defense. Yeah, but Colts have also a good defense. They were going to be playing them tough, which they did. Broncos should have lost that first game if you were watching. They should have not scored that last touchdown, and they should have probably had the backdoor cover with against them. They didn't. They got lucky, and they won. But going into Colts Stadium, I know that the win was a little iffy, and that call for the last field goal, I don't know. Either way, my point was good luck against Broncos D, and you're giving Daniel Jones a man to prove himself with a good offensive line and finally a good offensive coordinator that's letting him call his own plays and whatnot. Man, they look good. So that's why I played into that was good luck against Broncos D. Yeah, right. Good luck at Colts at home being a dog. And they won outright. Last pick was Baltimore. Henry very upset. He was, and he sucked. But Baltimore was superior, and everyone was buying into the Browns. Maybe, Joe Flacco's returning, and he wants to beat his old team. That's one of 2 teams he hasn't beaten. Well, he got crushed by the Baltimore Ravens. So my write-up for it was not great. Henry being very upset because they said that he's easy to tackle, and he said, we'll see on Sunday. Well, apparently he was, but at the same time, they covered pretty easily. So went 4-0 with my 3-star picks, just rambling off picks that I loved because they were the ones that took the runner-up spot, and that was great. So throwing all those in there, throwing our dailies. I believe we lost the daily Monday night, which did hurt. We bought into Vikings defense a little bit too much. Well, Atlanta's defense looked great too. So they really exposed some rookie, what we thought would happen in the first week for McCarthy. They exposed him this week. So we lost that one. So I believe we went 6-3 overall for NFL with all the dailies and everything included. And then we went 1-1 last night. We took the under and the over. Under looked great. Over looked great if Geno can move the ball, but he can't. So he kept bombing it, and Chargers defense looked great. So add Monday night into there, and that is 7-4. So that's great. Up 3 units. Add college, 8-3. We had a great weekend, and we actually made quite a bit of money because we do straight up bets, no parlays. Parlay it for $5 if you don't care about $5, but straight up bets is where it's at because we're up 3 units in NFL for the weekend, and we're up 5 units in college. That's up 8 units. If you put up $100 a game, you're up $800 for the weekend. Who wouldn't take that? So that's how we did on the weekend. Let's check out the cheat sheet real quick. I had every stack. I went with San Francisco stacks, and the winning lineup was Giant stacks, which no one saw coming. Those stacks won because of Malik Neighbors and because of having Russell Wilson at no ownership whatsoever. And those are the risks you have to take. But I did see the spot in the Lions wanting to run up the score. They did that. So if you had Amon-Ra St. Brown, you crushed it. My theory, and I profited about, I don't know, a couple $100 is all, but it was profit. And most of the time, it's either break even or lose if you don't have the crazy good lineups. But I actually profited for the weekend, and it was because I exploited the Niner stack. So right here. So my theory was if you take Mac Jones in the quarterback spot at 4K, and that frees up that, because I didn't like any receivers at the 4K position. And that held true. There was no one that scored over like 5 points in the 4K. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty positive looking back at everything, no other receiver in the 4K range scored at like more than 5 points. So my theory was if you take Mac Jones as the 4K spot in your quarterback position and he gives you 15, then that opens up your whole entire lineup to get nothing but premium running backs and premium receivers. And that held true. You could get everyone. And that's why all my lineups pretty much cashed or above cashed. I had some Lions stacks with bad interchangeable pieces, had some Bengals stacks. Obviously, Joe Burrow went out, so that didn't look good, but Jamar Chase did good. So that helped that stack. Dolphins looked gross. Only did a couple of those, but so that's why you do variations of it. And then Cowboys looked okay, but they looked really good if you did the bring back with Malik Neighbors. So, and Ferguson looked good, and Lamb did okay for those stacks. So the pieces in all of the spots were okay. Jamar Chase was good. Hollywood Brown, Brian Thomas is making business decisions for himself. If you've read into all of that, I mean, some of the plays, he's not looking the same. Jake Ferguson looked great. Trey McBride did average. Christian McCaffrey did average. Thought he'd have a lot more usage. And Mac Jones looked great. He didn't really even need to use him. He was passing great to Juwan Jennings and everything. Joe Burrow went out. Josh Allen broke his nose. Mac Jones looked great. Tua sucked. Dak was good for points. Brees Hall sucked. Tony Pollard didn't get his 95% usage that he did in week 1. We really played into that week 2. Travis Etienne did great. AJ Brown sucked. Thought that the squeaky wheel would get the grease there. Garrett Wilson, another quarterback that went out, Justin Fields, wasn't able to throw to him. Kincaid looked great, and Goddard went out, so we said switch to Fannin, and he was actually in all. We said switch to Fannin in Discord. That was a great call because that opened up your lineups. If you had Mac Jones and Harold Fannin as the tight end, you could get whoever you wanted in every other position. If you mixed it right, you were great. So that was cheat sheet. Stacks looked great, and San Fran and Lions made you actual money this weekend. It did for me, and I actually profited, so that was awesome. I wanted to, so before I switch over to next week, like I said, betlocker.com, you get access to all of this every single week. Everything is posted on Fridays. We do give daily picks every single day for your daily action of what everyone wants. It's real cheap. Let me go to the front page here. I don't show, it shows the prices on the actual main page when you visit the site, but only $6.99 for a week for everything, or $19.99 for the entire month. And I wanted to make it cheap as possible and just give insight to all of our brains and our experts' brains, and keep moving and winning forward of, like, just giving access to people for a cheap price of some expert analysis, and my sims that I have on my back end of why I'm picking these picks, given that access to our college experts and everything. And then it's, betting keeps the lights on as far as games, and DFS is what fuels the addiction, honestly, because if you're playing DFS to try and make a living, it is impossible. You're only going to, ask any even DFS expert. It is near impossible unless you're maxing out every contest. But it is so addicting and the anticipation to making the lineups and getting to Sunday morning and finalizing your lineups and putting those puzzle pieces together and playing chess, and then red zone starting is just, it is so addicting. And then so much action is going on. And this morning's Sunday's morning red zone was amazing. The best red zone I can remember in forever. And you have all that action and going on in DraftKings with all your teams. And you're like, oh my gosh, did I make the winning lineup? And it is just so addicting. And that's why we like doing those, is because diving into like matchups and usage and target shares and everything for the guys is just so addicting to try and get those chess pieces and puzzle pieces put together for the perfect DFS lineup. And I believe we're going to have it this season. I'm so close. I had some big scores last year, and I had some huge scores this season in the summer for golf, that I am just so focused on getting the correct one for this year in NFL. So, like I said, only $6.99 for a week, $19.99 for a month. That basically gets you 2 weeks free. Wanted to make it cheap just to give you an insight to all of our world and our brains, and also give you access to our Discord, because that's where we're giving out extra winners every single day, which is awesome. So please please subscribe to everything. It does help. I do appreciate all the support. Thank you guys so much. I love doing this, and it is definitely my passion. And I want to become making shows every single day for everyone, because it's what I love to do. So before I go, I just want to give a quick look to next week. I found this on X. It's going to be a tough week, even for DFS. I played around with some first look lineups for DraftKings, and then I played around with some spreads of who I liked and matchups and everything. Honestly, it's going to be a tough week. So this is where your discipline needs to show for your betting, I think, because the matchups are weird and the games are now weird, and now we have actual stats on guys, so we can exploit some spots, but it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be the toughest week. So obviously the toughest week so far, even more than week 1, where you don't know what's going on. I think this one is going to be an unpredictable week as well. The only thing I will say, the one spot that I did like was teams that start 0-3 they get to 98% chance that they will not make the playoffs. So I did the research. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 teams this week that are 0-2 going into this week. And so they are going to be looking to win because they, like I said, if you start 0-3, you're a 98% chance of missing the playoffs. The ones that stick out, so here's the list. I'll just rifle them off. Kansas City, Texans, Bears, Panthers, Saints, Jets, Giants, Dolphins, Titans, Browns. Now, the ones that stick out the most are obviously going to be Kansas City and Houston. They're expecting Houston was going to make the playoffs, and then Kansas City has obviously made it to every single Super Bowl ever, and they lost, and it's shocking that they started 0-2. They are not going to want to start 0-3, because I guarantee you they know that stat, that it is going to be really hard to dig out of that hole if they start 0-3. So maybe look for them to cover that spread this week. Maybe look for Texans to cover that spread this week. Just any team in general. Maybe don't take every 0-2 team, but maybe take your favorites, because they know that if they start 0-3, their playoff hopes pretty much already diminished. So look at those 0-2 teams and maybe try and exploit those lines on this tough week. So that's it, guys. Thanks for everything. Like and subscribe. Go to thebetlocker.com. Join today. Join our Discord. And we will continue to win so many units throughout the week and the weekend. And we're going to get that perfect lineup in DFS. I promise you. Okay. We'll see you guys.